With one speech, General M M Naravane shuts all doves in India.
He makes it clear that the armed forces are crucial not just for India's national security but also for its economic growth and stability. Hi and welcome to TFI English, the national socio-political analysis arm of the TFI Media Group.
I'm your host Piyush, and in this video I will tell you why General M M Naravane considers expenses on the armed forces an important investment.
How often have you heard Indian arguments which seek to demilitarize India? Oh, but spending so much on defense is insane. 5 lakh crores? Imagine how society could have benefited if this money was being used for people instead of the armed forces. Maintaining India's armed forces is warmongering. Liberals and those who do not have the best interest of India at heart can often be heard making such arguments. To them, the Indian armed forces serve no purpose, and the military as we know it should be dismantled. They argue that the money which could have been saved as a result should be used for societal upliftment.
However, the Indian Army Chief General M M Naravane has shut these people for good. On Wednesday, Chief of Army Staff General M M Naravane said that the expenditure on the armed forces helps a country survive the shocks of multiple crises.
He noted, for a country to prosper, you need a stable and peaceful environment. That will happen only if you have strong armed forces that will secure your borders. Therefore, whenever we talk of our armed forces and the expenditure made on our armed forces, we should see it as an investment. It is an investment from which you get good returns and should not be seen as a burden on the economy.
General Naravane added,
You should see how the economy suffers the moment there is a crisis. The moment there is a war anywhere or instability in the region, the impact can be seen on the stock markets. You can survive that kind of shock only if the armed forces of the country are strong. A big misconception in the minds of many is that defense spending is equal to dumping cash in a well where it is used by military alone. That is not the case, at least not anymore. You see, the Modi government is making a big push for indigenization. The goal is to create an indigenous defense industry that is self-sufficient and can provide for all of India's military needs. That's like the creation of a whole new sector within the Indian economy. On Thursday, for example, the Defense Ministry announced that India would ramp up its production of military equipment, including helicopters, tank engines, missiles, and airborne early warning systems. Ministry's website said military orders worth 2.1 trillion rupees or $27.8 billion roughly are likely to be placed with domestic, state-run and private defense manufacturers in the next 5 years. When India's domestic defense industry begins flourishing, it would contribute a very significant share to the Indian economy as well. Moreover, the stability of any country, more so of India, is contingent on our military being well replenished. The armed forces must be in a comfortable position financially. If India was to spend an insignificant amount of money on them, China and Pakistan would be having consecutive field days against our country. How do you think the Indian economy as a whole would fare in that scenario? The fact remains that the ability of the Indian economy to cushion itself against global crises arises from the strength of our armed forces. Moreover, the Indian economy is growing at a fast pace only because we are secure as a nation. Maintaining that security are India's armed forces.
therefore, General M M Naravane's message is clear.
Big bills on barrels cannot be a burden. Just like India spends huge money on oil barrels import to maintain its energy security, similarly, it must continue spending significantly on its armed forces to preserve national security and stability.